All right, Wednesday afternoon, and we are live. 90 minutes.
Nope. This is mine. This is mine. Oh. It's all me, baby. The love of my life is here with us today. I'm so happy you're here.
Great to be here, babe. Great to be here.
So, listen, I have a bunch of questions for you. My very first question is, and this is something that I've talked about on the podcast, that most women have no idea about. That's one of the reasons you're here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Tell women exactly how men think. Because hey, listen, I had no clue. I had no clue.
How they think about what?
Women. You're going to be shocked.
That's very vast. You just, in general?
When a man sees a woman, tell her.
You want to just hop right into this? No,
absolutely.
There's nothing, no warm up or anything?
Do I ever warm up?
No, I guess not.
No, all right. I never warm up. Go ahead. Lay it on him, baby.
I thought we'd you started on it.
Nope. We're going to go strong.
Okay.
We're coming out of the gate fast and furious.
Well, I think one of it's one of the things that I actually preach about the most is whenever a woman gets saved, I know that the guy is coming. And some of you might be thinking that's a positive thing, like God is sending forth her spouse. No, I'm not saying that won't eventually happen, but God's not going to do that right after you get saved. I know that the unsaved guy is coming for the girl who's now saved. I know that it's going to happen. Now, does it happen with men too? I'm sure that it does, but it happens every single time with the girl. And what women don't understand, and this is, men understand more, that you're never going to be able to missionary date. Men go to hell for lust. Women go to hell for whatever reasons they go to hell. But I can tell you how men think. So what men actually understand that women don't is this sort of thing. But I guess the way to frame it would be, women don't know what's coming at them. Men usually do. Like, men understand, the woman that's coming wants to date them. They kind of have an understanding of how that woman thinks to some extent. Women have no idea how men think. Men think completely differently than women do. Men get that women think differently than men. Women don't get that men think differently than they do. They just don't get it. They honestly think that men look at them as, oh, you know what, she's cute. No, every guy in his carnal nature is picturing the woman naked. I'm sorry, that bothers people. It just is the truth. And like, if you think that a guy is after you because, you know what, he wants to have a nice little intimate friendship, and and we're a cute little, and girls who think that guys just want to be their friends. No, they're friending you to get your clothes off. That's how porn is all for men. Oh, there's so many women that are watching porn. No, they're not. No, they're not. The only women that are watching porn, I am ending up screaming. Aaron, and my producer Aaron's back here too. He said, "Oh, the only."
I don't scream on my podcast.
I know.
I'm chill.
Do you want to interject?
Heck no! I want you to tell them, because seriously, women who dress like in barely any clothes, they are thinking, I'm going to get these guys' attention. The problem is you're not getting the right attention. Or if you wear your cleavage, your shirt's down, you wear your cleavage. You wear your shirt really low so your cleavage shows, or like you're wearing things to make sure that your whole figure is, you're thinking the guy thinks, oh, she's pretty.
Right. You're thinking,
nope.
Women think, they honestly think that the man is thinking that they would, the way that they would if they saw a man scantily clad or wearing something really nice. They're thinking, a woman, if a woman saw a guy wearing hardly any clothes, like some mankini down the beach, the women are going, ooh, and no matter how good looking the guy is, are going, ooh, and they're turning away. But there isn't one guy who wants to turn away from the Swedish bikini team running down the beach. Not one guy's wanting to turn. There are very different ways of thinking. So women actually think that men's tactics are for the same outcome as the woman's desired outcome. The woman's desired outcome is intimacy with a man, a deep, abiding friendship.
Yeah.
So you have an unsaved guy, and here's the difference between men and women. The unsaved men, and all men know what the vulnerabilities of women are. Women don't necessarily know what the vulnerabilities of men are. Listen, God is no respecter of persons. God doesn't think of the male sex higher than the female sex. It's just we all have our different wirings. It's like women are not going to hell because they're looking at porn. Every single woman that's brought into porn is brought into porn by her significant other. There aren't single women out there going, let me watch a bunch of porn. They're not. Men are thinking, almost until they are saved, and then even after we are saved, we struggle with this. They are thinking, how can I get that woman's clothes off? Or what does she look like naked? There is not one woman who looks at a man and goes, I wonder what he looks like naked. And you're going to bring up some sole exception, I know. But on the whole, that's just the way that it is.
No, it's
so
true.
Women think completely differently. So they're actually, and the men know they think differently. Only the women don't know. And you're like, Tom, come on, how would you? I'm just telling you, 25 years worth of law enforcement, overlap with 13 years of ministry, and now another 5-6 years after all of that, mass exposure to humanity, mass exposure to watching single women be saved at my church over the last 17 years. I can tell you that women have no idea how men think. Men who are not saved, who are not controlled, those who live according to the sinful nature of their mind set on what that nature desires, that men who are in that category are thinking about one thing. It doesn't mean they're not going to want to have a girlfriend too and go out on dates or anything else. So a woman who, when she first gets saved, I'm thinking, when's the guy coming through the room? Because the devil knows the vulnerability of the unsaved man, and that he's perfectly available to be used, and he knows the vulnerability of the freshly saved woman. And women need to understand that's how men are. It might be disgusting to you. I say things to my wife sometimes. She's like, that's, when we're talking about our own personal life. And she goes, that's gross. I'm like, that's men. The example that I've used inside the church all the time is we've been married, it'll be 27 years coming up December. Every single time that I have the chance of seeing her naked, I'm there. I'm going to find my way in there. That never happens. She's never trying to find a way to see me naked. Sorry, man. I mean, that's good. But I'm okay.
It's not true.
No, it's true. So, I mean, it just is what it is. It's
Pretty
two
true.
very different ways of thinking. And for men, like sexual stuff is like food. It is our necessity. There's no option. Gator got to eat. Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. And again, it's nothing to do with women. We are, as you probably can tell on Hope's podcast that I've pirated and completely taken over.
That's what you're here for.
Yeah, I mean, we are not transgenderists here. We do not believe that men and women are the same. In the eyes of God, they are equal. They're equal. All are gifted, all are called, can operate any gift of the Spirit, men or women. But they do not think the same, and there are strengths and weaknesses in each version of thinking. None of what I just said was a weakness on either part. It's not a weakness. But they think drastically differently. And women need to know that going in, that this guy that they just got some talk, judgment begins with the house of the Lord, 1 Peter 4:17. So when you first get saved, or even after you're saved, and there's some guy, and he's checking all the boxes. He's good looking, he's nice, he's spending money on you, but he's not saved, understand what his goal is. His goal is sexual contact. His goal is to see you naked. And that may never be your goal until you're married. If you are dating that guy, and you shouldn't be dating him out of 2 Corinthians 6:14, and be unequally yoked, even if you're dating somebody who's not saved, it may never be your goal as a woman to do that, but it is absolutely his. Absolutely. Because with men, sex is like food. and they've got to satisfy that desire. That is just the way that is. With women, it isn't that way. It's mixed with other things. Neither one of them is weak. Neither one of them is wrong, but very different.
Absolutely. And it's so funny to me because I see these girls dressed so provocatively, and they think that they just think that guys look at them so different. I mean, or they want to be hot to the guy. But really all the guy wants to do is get your clothes off, get what he can get, and then go on about his day. He does not want the same thing as what you want, which is crazy. But so, you're a Hallmark watcher.
Yes.
Mostly Christmas
Fervent.
time.
Fervent.
Yeah, fervent Hallmark. Now Lifetime.
Lifetime too, right. Switched mainly to Lifetime over this past holiday season.
Which they kiss a little bit more in the Lifetime. I'm not really happy about that. Like that's one of the reasons why Hallmark was decent is because like there wasn't a lot of kissing. There was a more appropriate.
Yeah.
But
Hallmark's gone mega woke.
Mega woke.
I mean, everybody has to have a gay relative now.
Mm-hmm. Or friend.
The homosexual community makes up less than 10% of the culture, but 50% of all couples from Hollywood are now gay in the movies.
That's the way it is, right? Because it's the propaganda. No, let me just say this. I am not a Hallmark watcher.
No, you make fun of me while I'm watching them, and comment while I'm watching them.
But why is that?
You commentate while I'm watching.
Why is that?
I don't know why.
Because him and my daughter.
A character flaw on your part?
No. Because he and my daughter are oogling over usually the guy.
Yes. I am very, very, very. I don't know what the word would be. I'm very, comfortable. In
your skin.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm very. What was that? No, nobody's thinking of the word that I'm thinking of, but I can't think of it either. So, but I'm very sure of my heterosexuality. Very, very sure. However, I have no problem saying, "Man, that guy is handsome."
Like our daughter.
No problem at all.
You have a guy that you want Norma to date, but you think he's as good looking as she does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like, man, when she showed me a picture of him, I'm like, man, that guy's handsome. I mean, that guy. I mean, he's handsome. But I like Hallmark movies, Lifetime movies. Pretty much only at Christmas, maybe a little Thanksgiving, but mainly at Christmas. I like them because it's relaxing. It's fun. It's fun to watch. And then occasionally, there will be some tears.
Yeah, you do cry. That's normally why I'm laughing. It's either because you're oogling over the guy, you're man crushing.
Yeah.
Or you're crying, which is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what the end is always going to be.
How
is that possible?
Nuance. There's nuance.
There's never a nuance. It's always the same.
Nuance.
No, there's not.
There's a little nuance. You can time it out, yes, it's a 2-hour movie. 2-hour high production, high quality Hallmark movie. With A-list actors and actresses. A-list actors and actresses.
No.
And
You're lucky if they're
it goes from, they'll end up in some place called, Cookie, Wisconsin, or
Hollytown,
Holly, Michigan.
It's so cheesy.
So they'll end up in something like that, and it'll go for the couple that will end up together. They start off, of course, as adversaries, usually coming back to the town. One of them coming back to the town that they grew up in. And then their old girlfriend will be their boyfriend. That they broke up because they felt like they were going separate ways. So they did.
And we wish they had.
You could pretty much time it out that at about 1, they get together, and then they're about to kiss, and then somebody interrupts them. That's my
point, though. Do you understand? My point is how
nuance.
can you cry?
But you see,
there's nuance. No nuance.
There's nuance. And One Starry Christmas. That's different.
That's the only one that's
One
decent.
Starry Christmas with the cowboy. It's about as good as it gets.
Oh my gosh! If you were in my house, the screaming. They've watched this movie. Like, I don't know. Norma is screaming at the top of her lungs. My husband is. Okay, Tom. So Vanessa. Yeah. You know Vanessa. Yes. She's married to Jeff. So this one's for Vanessa and Jeff. A call out to Jeff. Yeah. For Vanessa. She wants to know, how can you get her Jeff to watch more Hallmark with her? Listen, it's like prying teeth for me to watch with Tom. I usually make a date night for Norma and Tom so that I don't have to suffer through it. They do a lot. They do date nights out on the couch with each other, so I don't have to do it. But what can Vanessa do?
So I'm playing the role of the wife to try to get their husbands.
Well, that's usually
right.
your role anyway.
Right.
You're usually the girl in the relationship.
Yeah, I am. I'm the one. I'm the one in this relationship that actually has a soul and has feelings.
Oh my gosh.
Actually apologizes. Things like that. That doesn't always happen on that end.
That's not true.
But anyway, it has now. It's gotten better. It's gotten better, but
I'm doing much better.
It's still like prying teeth. But in all honesty, there's no hope.
Oh, that's not good for Vanessa.
I know that God is the God of hope. I get it in Romans 15:13, and He's the God of peace. First Thessalonians 5:23. I get it, but in this circumstance, you either are or you are not a Hallmark person, and you will never change if you are not.
That is so true.
And I've been watching them for a decade or more with her, and she's never going to change. Jeff is never. You know why it is? It's just they don't get us.
Jeff doesn't have a soul either, though. I mean,
no, Jeff.
When you're in sales, like you kind of like.
Well, they're not going to know who you're talking about. So
well, I'm just saying, it's like now. Jeff's personality is very. Oh my gosh, Jeff. Oh, please.
I'm taking over.
Please. Jeff is a little.
Aaron, get some slides ready. We're switching to vaccines. Jeff
is sweeter and kinder than me by a lot. But Jeff doesn't give a rip about nothing in life. Like, he doesn't care. He doesn't care who you are. Nothing. So he is like that to a certain extent. He's an Aaron, a Heather, and a Hope. Jeff is, so Hallmark's never going to appeal to him.
There we go. Hey,
monthly excess mortality.
Aaron, put that on the screen. There we go. That's what we need to be.
Please.
That's what we need to be talking about. Hey, Aaron,
Tracy, take back over.
See me get one of Palestine, Ohio, burned into the ground.
Oh my gosh!
Side by side.
Listen, I will say, if you have any questions, oh my gosh!
Now we're talking. Now this is a podcast. Let's get down to some vaccines. Let's talk about Joe Biden.
No.
Let's talk about the GDP.
No.
Let's get down to some stuff.
No.
Forget about this Hallmark stuff.
No.
Let me tell you about the excess mortality.
No.
So anyway, back
That's
to
enough.
Hallmark. There, if you are married to a spouse, if it's your husband or if it's your wife, and they hate Hallmark, listen, they're always going to hate it. They're always going to. Blessed are you. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. Vanessa, they will never understand us. They don't have that revelatory knowledge, and they just don't have it.
We don't want it.
They do not have it.
Listen though, Vanessa, you're on the oh my word.
That's some good coffee.
That's water. You don't drink coffee. Listen, Vanessa, you're living the high life, because it doesn't matter that he doesn't watch Hallmark with you. You're living the high life. I mean, he's strapped to me. You're strapped to him. It's pretty dang good.
He's missing out.
Good thing.
He's missing out, just like you.
We'll be fine. And so, listen, if you have a question that you want to ask, send it into the comments, and we're going to try and get as many as we can.
It's about vaccines.
No.
It's about COVID.
No.
Joe Biden, Palestine.
He'll answer
WEF.
them.
Anything.
No, he'll answer them. His podcast is on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 to 10, and he eats up every single hour or minute.
90 minutes of fury.
And then Saturday nights.
Say it right. 90 minutes of fury.
No,
90 minutes of fury.
Of yelling.
And high five.
No, I'm not high fiving.
High five.
No. Tom, you can't even get me to do it in front of people. I'm not doing it. In private.
She never will high five me, ever.
I'm not high fiving. Tracy, I'm not high fiving. No,
it's Valentine's Day
is past. I'm not doing it. I do not high five. She's so cheesy. Oh my gosh. He does that on the bike. I told you. I'm not high fiving.
High five.
I'm riding the bike with you. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
High five that you won't high five.
I'm not doing it. Okay.
Come on. Get it going. I don't want any dead time here. Let's go.
Okay. Tom can't
I plead the
stand...
fifth.
Okay, that's hurting my people's ears. Tom doesn't like any time where there's no communication going on, no dead air. Like when he's with Pastor Rodney doing like any podcasting, Pastor Rodney's just sitting there scrolling, and Tom's like, is somebody going to say something? It's okay to have no one saying anything.
All right.
It's okay. It'll be all right. Next question. Do you believe in soulmates? And if yes, how do you know that you guys were soulmates?
I really don't belong on this podcast.
Do you believe in soulmates?
No. Anything that's not in the Bible, I don't believe. Period. If it's not the Bible, I don't believe it. If it was in Matthew chapter 11 verse 23 that there's a soulmate, then I believe it. But no, I don't believe in soulmates. I believe you pray your spouse in. Period.
You pray if that's the right spouse. You pray for your spouse.
You pray your spouse in, not if that's right. You shouldn't even be dating somebody. Like, I mean, you should don't go by the world system and run people through an interview process. I'm not saying date and marry everybody you date. Please take this in a balanced way, because I know people, and then I've known Christians like this. You date to see who you want to marry. They marry who they date. No, I mean, you still have to put people through some sort of process. But you should be praying that person in, not running through a long line of people to see if it's the right one, or stumble across the right one.
Then you pray if it's the right one. Then you pray, is this the one I'm supposed to marry?
I mean,
Right.
you do. Once you are, but I mean, it all should be from start to finish. God, send me the one that you want in your timing, not it's him. It's up. There's certain times or seasons, of course, that are in his own authority. Acts chapter 1, verse 7. So it's not a matter of, Lord, send me one in 2023. It's, Lord, send me your spouse in your timing. Period. That's it. And then kick back and enjoy your life. And if if there are dating options, of course, if there's the only dating option is a sold out born again believer. So in some ways that would sort of be a soulmate. But I'm saying that a lot of people, when I ask them this question, they come up to me, hey, Pastor Tom, I met this new guy, and he's just great, and he's sweet, and whatever. And I go, well, where's he staying? Is he saved? And their first word is well. Well, okay, why would you ever go on the interview process prior to the date should be, are you saved?
Yeah.
I mean, period. Are you saved? And then even if they are saved, are you equally yoked? Of course you're unequally yoked if the person is not saved. But if the person is saved, but you're not on the same wavelength spiritually, you pray, you do the 4 essentials, prayer, Bible study, worship, fellowship. They never do. They're barely hanging on. Christianity is more recreational to them. They show up when they want. You should never date that person because they're very vulnerable to sin. And you should not be dating that person. No, I don't believe in soulmates. I believe that you should. I mean, there are certain... When I was dating, there's certain boxes that had to be checked. The girl had to be hot. Period. If she's not, I mean, hot to me. Okay, I mean, I think Hope's hot to everybody, but I'm just saying that hot to me. The girl has to be hot to me, right? So
I love you.
That had to happen. And you're like, Tom, was that number one? In all honesty, yes. That was number one. I mean, she'd have to be attractive to me, physically attractive to me, So that would have to be there. And again, and there's people who are wanting to be married. Boy, I may get you in trouble here.
No,
this may ruin your podcast. You're bringing me on. It's dangerous to bring me on.
No,
the podcast.
I get myself in trouble. Don't you worry about it.
Like if there's people who want to get married, but you're 150 pounds overweight, forget it. I know that sounds horrible, but listen, I mean, and I'm namely speaking about women. Forget it. Because men don't think like, they're not looking for an eternal friendship. You're going to have to, yes, we want that, but you're going to have to cross the first line first, which is physical attractiveness. Sorry you don't like it. That's the Bible. The Lord does not look at the things man looks at. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at, we're not the Lord.
Men are different than women.
Correct.
Men are visual creatures.
Right, you're gonna have to pass the eye test. I'm sorry, get yourself in shape. Mix in a salad. stop eating donuts every day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're gonna have to do that because that's how men are. You might be somebody, a woman who's like, I don't care what he looks like, and which I don't think there are many women like that. But I mean, you may be like that. No men are like that. None. You're like, well, I knew this one. This one, you've known thousands of men, and you know one, and you're going to advocate for that one.
But I would say if they knew that one, would they have dated that one?
Right.
I would say to the girl, if you knew that one guy that picked outside of that box, I would say, would you have picked him?
Because he's probably a girl. Right. So, I mean, that's the thing. So, back to the original question. No, I don't believe in soulmates. I do believe that people now also, once the girl gets past the eye test, then I'm looking at how compatible we are. Now, Hope didn't actually do well on our first date. She touched me way too much, and she punched me. She was like, "Oh my gosh, you see, just like that." I'm like,
I'm still like that.
Well, yeah, I know, but I didn't know you then, and I'm like, "Does we not like do the touching?" And she was like
but I wasn't.
But you were very forceful. She was
but
like,
I wasn't trying to date you.
I walked in.
We
I
were
know.
friends.
Well, I know. Well, not to me. That's how girls think. That's not what I'm thinking.
Well, Tom, I did date you, and I didn't date you for looks.
Hey.
I didn't.
Oh, yes, you did. You fell in love immediately.
No. I dated you because you were funny. Okay, not because you were good looking.
We're losing viewers.
I dated you not because of your looks.
We had 80 until I started calling people fat. It was
all right.
I lost 4. There's 4 fat people watching that dropped off.
So girls do date guys based not on looks.
I know. That's what I agree. That's you may find women that will do that, but like Hope didn't on our first date. I actually walked away from the date, drove away from our first date, and I was like, literally, I may have even said it out loud. Girl's a little much. That's what I said.
I am though.
She was a little much, and I was like, but then I was like, but she's nice. She was out of my league, so I was like, hey, you know what? She's out of my league, so I might as well at least keep her around. If she's willing to go out with me as friends, as she would say.
It was.
as friends. And I'm the one who had the first conversation, by the way, of
where's this going?
Where's this relationship going?
After 10 days. It wasn't like that. It was not like
That's how she felt the entire time. Just like that.
I literally was like, why don't we just go out, have some fun, and see where it goes. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, am I in a high school relationship here?
That's right.
We were 25 and 24. It was rough.
Yeah. But then I just was like, we could talk. We made each other laugh. And then we developed a really good friendship that has to be there. If you are one of these people that you're saying, well, he's my best friend, but he's not, stop playing a con game. If the person is either really is your best friend, don't fall in love with what you want to fall in love with. Fall in love with the person. Like make sure that it's reality.
Yeah.
That she or he really is your best friend. Don't be just like, that you want them to be your best friend. And that's what's cool to say at Bible studies. Yeah, I'm dating. I'm just so glad. I just want to thank the Lord that I'm dating my best friend right now. And that's not the case. You're like, Tom, where do you get this from? Human inundation for the last 30 years of my life in pastoral ministry and law enforcement. People are just, they date what they want. They call things. It's actually like a counterfeit of God out of Romans 4:17. The God who gives life to the dead calls things that are not as though they were. Christians are doing that with people, calling things that are not as though they were. If you're fighting all the time while you're dating, I've known many people like this over the years, both before and after being a pastor, that fought all the time while you're dating. You're not compatible. You are not a soulmate, even though I don't believe in soulmates. Dump the person now. If you're sitting there for 3 years and or however many years, and the girl wants to get married but you don't, that's because she's not the one. Dump her, or vice versa. Dump him, dump her now. Don't marry the wrong person. You are better off being alone. I didn't get married till I was 28.
How do you, we dated for 3 years though.
Right.
On and off.
On and off.
Yeah, because you kept breaking up with me.
I broke up with her a few times.
Okay, so here's the thing. So how do you get the best friend relationship? What does that like, how do you get to that place? Because for us, we were best friends, although it was more than that. Like, we were best friends. Like,
right.
we talked every day
right.
for long periods of time. I mean, we never did anything but talk. We were pure when we got married. But how do you end up marrying your best friend? How do you do that?
Well, I do think,
especially since you're a guy and girls don't know how that works.
Initially, like for me, I had to cross the hurdle because I was like on our first date, I was like, she's a little much. I like her, but she's a little much. So I had to give you a chance. All right, like that.
Yeah.
Not that you were looking for me to give you a chance because we were just friends. So
we were.
Yeah, but I had to. So you may have to, but. It was very marginal effort. If you're having to give a lot of effort, that's not your friend. I'm not saying you can't be acquaintances or, have some sort of, acquaintance. I'm not saying that this person can't be your friend, can't have a friendly relationship with them, but you're either compatible or you're not compatible as friends. I mean, if I use like Aaron as an example over here, he and I, if we are in this room by ourselves, can talk for 4 hours straight. And we have. We're friends. Now there's other people that I can't do that with. That doesn't mean that I'm not friends with them, but we're not best friends. We're never going to, it really is interpretation of what you mean by friend. Somebody you're friendly with or somebody you have a deep and abiding friendship with. I'm talking in this context, a deep and abiding friendship, which you have to have if you're going to marry somebody. You have, not pretending. I mean, you're like, Tom, why are you on this? Because Christians are oftentimes just con artists to themselves. I'm preaching a series now about being your own false prophet. They talk themselves, well, we're just best friends. No, you're not. You fight all the time. You're not best friends. You're not even comfortable around each other. I've been in rooms where the wife tells her husband to shut up in front of everybody. And I'm like, how did you two ever get married? Because I never had somebody like me telling them not to get married. I've refused to marry people. I tell people, don't come and ask me to marry you. Because if you do, there's a prereq sheet that you're probably not going to pass. But, how you develop that friendship? Is that what you asked?
Well, if you're dating, how do you know, if you're best friends? Like for us, we never wanted to go anywhere. Like you always, if you wanted to go to a hockey game, you wanted me to go before you wanted all your buddies to go.
Right.
If you were going to do anything, the person you always wanted to do it with was me. If you're dating a guy, that's not the case, because guys are different.
Well, there's balance with that.
But that's balance.
Okay, now the balance with that is this, though. I don't know if we wanted the whole show on this, but...
No, we're going to hit other topics,
okay.
But still.
Well, I like to get through as many slides as possible.
Oh, no, you don't. He doesn't. That's part of the problem here.
No, I mean, there's a balance, okay? If you are a girl who's like, I want him to spend every last moment with me.
That's not.
Okay, now you're needy and unattractive. To me. Maybe there's men, I'm supposed to go this way. There we go. Yeah. Okay, because I keep them coming off the screen. There we go. Maybe there's men that like needy women. Mainly, they just, this sounds so bad. Mainly, they just use needy women, if you know what I mean. I'll leave it at that. But neediness is very unattractive. I am sort of an exception to the rule. I'm not saying I'm exceptional. I'm saying I'm an exception to the rule.
Yeah, because you're low maintenance.
I'm not Mr. Night out with the guys guy.
No, that's
true.
That's
never been my thing. I'm not talking about night out with the guys in a sinful way. I'm talking all in Christian culture here. I've never been Mr. Men's Fellowship, and all guys, retreats and all that, because in all actuality, I enjoy the more intimate conversations that I have with women. I don't mean that in a weird sort of sense.
Because you're more.
I don't mean that. Send your women to Foundation Church so Tom can have intimate conversations. I do not mean that. Okay. What I mean is I actually like to have conversations outside. Hey, who's quarterback and whatever, and what fishing rod you using this week?
He could care less.
And and although I am a gun owner, I'm not a gun enthusiast. I don't ever go. I shot so many rounds as a law enforcement officer. I'm bored with shooting paper targets, so I don't have any interest in going out to the range. I love a good conversation though. So it's just a balance. If you're a girl who's like, this is so vast, but you just have to be like, you have to be comfortable enough to trust the person, and be free enough that if the person defies or breaks that trust, that you're confident enough in your relationship with the Lord that you just move on. Like if with Hope and I know that if I left today, just took off, I told her so she was not out calling the cops looking for me. I said, Hope, it's over. I'm leaving. And drive off. Okay, she would want to know why, whatever else, but she would move on quickly. She would. She'd move on. And there's Heather, amen. And why is Heather over here amening her? Because Heather's the same as Hope, just 15 years younger. Okay, same person. They both somehow, they avoided the well of souls that the Lord gives. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I'm making up well of souls out of a movie. I'm just saying they avoided and didn't receive a soul. They don't have emotions. They don't have feelings. So they would just move on quickly. And for Heather, it would just be a list. She always has a list of things to accomplish. Move on from Travis. Check one. Done.
By day, whatever it is.
Right.
Be remarried.
Yeah, whatever. Get over Travis, step one. And Hope would move on the same way. Those are the most attractive people. So you got to be able to allow him, if he wants to hang around with his friends. Or he's going to get sick of you. But the guy, if this is marriage material and moving towards that, now at the beginning, you shouldn't even be thinking of it. It should just be basically a dating friendship.
Right.
As you are moving more, you need to see him prioritize you.
Right. For
sure. Prioritize you. Does he mostly want to hang around with you? You just think of it in like statistics. Or does he pretty much want to hang around with you 70% of the time, 30% with his friends, 80% with you? Whatever's good.
Because it gets worse after you get married.
Whatever works in the balance.
Because after you get married, you're around each other all the time. But the facts is if he doesn't want to be around you the majority of the time, then that means when you get married, it's going to even get worse than that. Because everything escalates after you get married. Any bad habits become worse. Now, if you're married and you didn't marry the right person, and you want that friendship, and you want to be best friends you want your spouse to want to be best friends with you. Now, this is very vast because it could be people with like horrible personalities that make it very difficult for the spouse to want to be best friends with them because they're argumentative or they're negative or they're very critical. Now, if you don't have that relationship with your spouse, like biblically speaking, there are things that you can do, but how do you do the carnal with the spiritual to get that best friend? Because there's a lot of relationships that need to be restored, but friendship is the key to that. Well, along with trust.
Well, for me, this is a message that I heard. This is all Jonathan Shuttlesworth's material that I'm typing from him right now, and it's a message that I just heard him preach. I can't remember whether he was at his home church or he was preaching in D.C. or maybe the revival before that, but very recently I heard him preach this. And if you want, if you're in a relationship right now where your husband, let's just say, is an avid outdoorsman and you want his time, well, how do you fix it? Become an avid outdoorsman. A lot of women will do the opposite. Will be like, he comes in, he's pulling off his camo gear. Why can't you spend more time with me? And you just send him more. He's going outside more now.
It's true, though.
Okay, that's all that you did was send him outside more. If he's an avid outdoorsman, buy him fishing poles and rifles. Actually support him and then go ahead and join in. He's never going to change. And that sounds horrible, but everybody needs to stop trying to change people. God doesn't even change people. He gives them an opportunity to change. He allows you to come inside, allows you to make a decision to allow him on the inside of you, to change your heart of stone into a heart of flesh. But that's still your decision. And women think, and again, you know what? And this sounds like I'm attacking. Listen, I just told you a minute ago. Normally when I'm hiring people, I hire women like realtors, business people, whatever it is, because women return phone calls and men don't. And women are actually more committed than men are. You know, it's almost like if you look at police dogs. You know, there was a canine handler that I knew that he said, I would wish they'd give me a female Malinois because they don't have to jump out of the truck, fight all the male Malinois, pee all over everything, and look for women. That's what they do. Believe me, I have a male Malinois. He never stops peeing. But anyway, so, you know, I love women. I love the company of women. Hope and I quickly transformed when we were dating into being best friends, but I still hung around with all of my other friends too.
Yeah.
But I preferred her the most. That's what you should be looking for. But if you want to transform, if you're already in a pretty distant marriage because your husband is doing his hobby more than he wants to be with you, then join the hobby.
That's right.
Become a golfer. I wouldn't have mind. I Hope was always. I like to be outside. I like to go walking. I like to go biking. I like a lot of exercise every day. If I don't, get hyper. So I like to go out and burn all that energy off.
Can you imagine more hyper?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I mean, look at me. Right now, I really want to preach. But anyway, so I said to her the other day, do you want to go biking? Because she comes biking with me. She goes, well, do you want me to go? I'm like, again, Hope is not much of a woman's woman. She's more of a guy. But on occasion, the womanhood slips out.
Yeah.
Slips out. Do you want me to go? It's the reason why I'm immune to adultery. I'm not immune to lust. I am immune to adultery. Because I can't even maintenance this level of girl. Which there isn't a whole lot of girl here. Yes, physically beautiful girl. I'm just saying she doesn't act like a girl. She doesn't demand much maintenance. I could never maintenance another one on the side. I don't have the. Yeah, that's even more than her because occasionally even Hope comes out. Do you want me to ride with you? Oh, what are you talking about? We ride together all the time. Why are you asking me that? You know, I'm like, why are you asking? Maybe because she just needs some affirmation. That's why I can't have an adulterous relationship. I can't give another. It took all that I had to be nice then.
I don't know. Maybe you're giving off a vibe.
Huh?
Maybe you're giving off a vibe. Maybe it's not me.
Do you want me to go?
Maybe it was you, not me.
No, it's you. It's not me.
I choose.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite of the Costanza principle. It's you. It's not me. But anyway, so just join in. She joins in with me. That's what I like to do. And you're like, shouldn't you be trying to?
What is your phone wallpaper, your wife or your dog? Oh my gosh, it's not
Somebody
me.
from the church sent that in. You want me to show it? You guys can see.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's the dog. It's not just our dog for the truth.
That's ours and the Dexter's dog.
So this is wait a minute. This is Heather's dog. Yeah. He's an Italian Mastiff. And
Cane Corso.
King Corso. Thank you.
Cane Corso.
Cane Corso.
Yep. Get it right.
And then this is our dog. He's a Belgian Shepherd.
Right.
And they're best friends.
Yeah, they're best friends.
And Tom loves both of them.
Yeah, Titus and Addie.
Adamar.
Yeah, Addie.
Addie, Adamar.
We all call him Addie. But anyway, see, we're gonna demonstrate now is how to fight. Make sure that you fight fairly.
Now let me ask you this.
Okay,
I want to know the breakup story.
Questions are coming in, everybody. Just so
my gosh. Okay, who asked this question? I want to know the breakup story.
Can you guys tell us? You guys are supposed to send names. Galena.
Oh, Galena. Galena wants to know the breakup story over the sandwich. We have differing opinions over this, so we only have 15 minutes. I'm gonna tell the breakup story over the sandwich.
Okay.
You cannot interject, and please don't slurp. Like he's just doing that because normally if somebody else was making those noises at any other time, he'd be giving you the eye. So the breakup story is it's about a year into the relationship. Tom's a little commitment scared, big time commitment scared.
Not commitment scared.
Commitment scared. He
Disagreed.
was big time. No.
Rejected.
Okay, so by this time I know that God's already told me he's the one, but I could tell like he was acting a little skittish at different times. So I was wondering like what was going on, but so I think it was already implanted into his head because he was getting commitment scared. But this comes from his parents had gotten divorced just shy of when we got together. So he was really nervous about marriage, the whole thing, just because of his parents recently divorcing. So we go off to a youth convention, and we're both youth leaders, and it's with all of our friends, the pastor and his wife, is a whole bunch of us go to this. So felt he was in a safe place because he knew if he dumps me, which we ride together there. We have a cooler. See, back at this time, I didn't have a job.
This is lengthy.
He did. So we fill the cooler up with sandwiches and all this and drinks, right, to save some money. It's me. So, and Tom doesn't care about spending money, but at the time, I didn't have a job. So here we go. So he rides up with me.
So I already hate the fact that we were bringing a cooler full of sandwiches. Go ahead.
He didn't argue it because he was on a diet. So here's the thing. So we go up there, we drive my car.
5 years
I
since
don't
you
care.
started to talk.
We drive my car. This story has to be told. You drive my car up there. We're with all of his friends. And so what happens is we go in.
88 viewers.
We go in. We go to get food. And I'm like, hey, listen, let's just go in and get our sandwiches because we can save some money. He didn't like the fact that he thought I was telling him that we had to get the sandwiches out of the cooler because he wanted to eat inside there. So because I mandated, which I did not, because I was strongly encouraging that we eat the sandwiches
Not mandating,
from the cooler.
strongly encouraging.
Strongly encouraging.
Which is about the same as safe and effective.
I was like, listen, because I felt uncomfortable because I wasn't contributing. So there he goes, rebel news. So because of that, it ends up, he's like, you're not going to tell me what to do. No woman's going to tell me what to do. Shut up, Tom.
Put Palestine on
Yeah.
there. A burning video.
Because of that, he broke up with me. I drove home. He didn't talk to me for the rest of the trip. I didn't even know we were broken up. I mean, it was pretty obvious. But he didn't talk to me. It was very uncomfortable. But it's a good thing I am soulless to a certain extent because I went off and hung out with my friends and had a somewhat decent time. I was more mad than anything else. Tom, on the other hand, I drove by myself. That's it right there.
Now, what we have there is Palestine, Ohio. We need to talk about the
He should
the
feel
vinyl
bad.
chloride spill
Let me
that just
ask you
happened
this.
there. What really happened? What's going on behind the scenes?
So, do you feel bad about that?
No,
to
no,
this
that's
day?
not. All of that is not what happened. So,
But no, do you feel bad about that, though?
what?
About the whole breakup, that sandwich
I feel
breakup?
bad about. Well, the reason being is
He's told me he feels bad about the
I
breakup.
feel bad
Melina.
about this. First of all, at the time, she had just lost your job or didn't have.
I had moved down here, so I was trying to.
had a
I was
job
going to
before.
real estate school. Remember?
Right,
So I was poor.
She had no income, so I had the money. So like she was like living off my dime on this trip that I'd probably convinced her to go on. So we all went up there. So what I did feel bad about was cutting her off in the middle of the trip. She had no money, and then making her drive home alone when I drove home with my friends.
So I think I went on a really long fast.
Yeah. So I did and do feel bad about that. However, the whole thing was her fault. So what was it at? Is it
No.
Universal?
Yes.
Right? Yeah,
Yes.
Universal.
I know the exact
We were in
location.
some restaurant and I wanted to eat there. And listen, basically every meal I eat is out. I don't eat anything from inside the house unless it's in a bag. That's it. I really don't eat anything. So everything I eat is out. So I was like that then. And I'm like, when I want to eat something, and that stuff looked good to me, I want to eat it. And Hope's like, we need to go out to the car and eat our sandwiches. And she sounded just like that. We need to go out to the car and eat our sandwiches. Just like that. Just identical to that. So
I beg to differ.
no, but she wasn't, of course, to that extent, but she was insistent that we go out there, and I'm like, no, I don't want to. And then so Hope, she can say whatever she wants. She's no shrinking violet. She's not going to just let it go because you say it's not what I want to do. Then once you tell Hope it's not what you want to do, then comes the dissertation of why it is what you should do. And the numerous reasons why it is. She doesn't realize it. In my home, there's 4 people. 4 people, a dog, and a cat. But the 4 people are like this. Norma and I, my daughter and I, are quiet. You're like, Tom, you yell all the time. Not anywhere else but in front of a microphone.
Super quiet.
I'm quiet. Norma's quiet. We talk at normal volumes. Hope and Tommy, my wife and son, I have to regularly tell them, listen, love you, but I'm 2 feet from you. 2 feet. My son and I'm a night owl, so I'm up all night. We go walking. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And he's telling me a story about learning a new jiu-jitsu move. And I'm like, dude, you're yelling. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. People's windows are open because it's cool outside. You are loud. So she was probably loud. All right, an elevated voice. And I'm like, no woman's gonna have me hog-tied and branded. Hoya! So that was that. And,
So I broke up with
I broke up with that.
sandwich.
I broke up with her for saying that I wasn't sweet.
We didn't break up.
Well, we did, but she showed up at my house.
Oh, because we have a Redskin game we were going to go to.
Yeah, there's another one. So we're driving home, and she's like, I don't know what her deal was, but or what was happening, but she goes, "You're not being sweet," and I'm like, and I just like, that's it, it's over. I'm not, yeah. So I just like, what I do immediately is just ghost them. It's ghosted. Like I'll stop right then. I'm even in your presence and you're ghosted. Like, I mean, it's your ghost. So I mean, it's over. So, but we had Redskin tickets for the following day in Tampa Bay. This is back when the NFL was good.
I think it was Miami.
No, it was in Tampa.
Was Tampa Bay?
It was Tampa Bay.
Oh.
It was in Tampa. And so I'm like, the next day, I'm like, there's no way she's showing up at my house. It's like a noon game. She has to show up in the morning. And it was like a preseason game, so it was like on a Saturday or something.
We're
And
both Redskin fans.
We're
I'm from DC.
We're both from Virginia.
Well,
DC,
Virginia.
I'm
born here, but
well, no,
yeah.
but really, we grew up in Virginia, so we're both Redskin fans. And I'm like, there's no way, because I mean, I've ghosted this girl. Like, it's over. Like, I didn't speak to her. Done. I would have never shown up the next day.
I don't care.
Hope's like, well, I have a ticket.
That's right.
You have my ticket. I'm going. So I'm like, I can't believe I'm sitting there at my house, and I look out the window, and she pulls up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I hated her. I'm like, get out of my driveway.
And I didn't care.
I'm like, is she kidding me? So I even asked her. I'm like, really? She goes, well, we have game tickets. I want to go. So I think it was dead silent the entire drive up to Tampa.
I didn't care.
And like, I don't think the ice broke.
I don't care.
Until I think I told her that she would look good in one of those cheerleading uniforms.
I have fun. I don't care.
And then we were good, and then we dated for months and months after that until I broke up with her the next time.
Yeah, I guess I am soulless because I really didn't care.
And then whenever I did break up with her, there was no emotion. She didn't care. That attracted me to her all the more. I'm very attracted. I actually really love women who hate me, and I really do. I find them fascinating. There's a lot of women that hate me because they think I'm a misogynist because I actually preach. I actually preach the Bible. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ also loved the church. Ephesians 5:22 and 25. So women hate me a lot of times, but I'm like, I find you the most fascinating of all. If I was single, I'd try to date you because you hate me.
But you're so opposite of that.
With Hope, she so much didn't need me, it made me need her. I gotta have her. If she doesn't need me at all, this is great. I gotta have that girl.
Oh, I'm touching you again. Am I too much?
No, I'm used to it now.
Okay. I can't help it. I do. Okay. One last thing, because for parents, I want to hit some things for parents too, not just dating.
Don't bore people because we're at 100 views now.
Woohoo! No, this is important. This is if you have kids.
I'm bored right now, though. Just
you're always bored.
So get to it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Just because you are does not mean other people are. Okay.
Come on, Aaron.
No.
Next.
No.
Faster.
Aaron.
Faster.
Aaron. Oh my God.
I love you, man.
You're both fired.
You're the best.
Okay. Oh. Stop it. Okay. Now listen, we have a 24-year-old and we have a 22-year-old.
Hey, can we play a farting video on your podcast?
Nope.
Okay.
I hate that.
Okay.
Do not. Thank you. I mean, women don't like that, just so you know. And you have a very big woman audience. Don't do the farting thing. It's so, annoying. Do not. Okay, so we have a 24-year-old and we have a 22-year-old. Our son is 24.
At least you know their ages.
I know,
That's
thank
good.
God.
You
I'm
don't
not good
know
with
their
numbers.
heights
No,
or
I
their
don't.
weights when they're born.
Nope, I surely
or
do
anything
not.
else.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. Tom, you're the girl. Okay, so here's the thing. We have a son who's 24. We have a daughter who's 22. Neither one of them had dated. Part of that is because we had a rule in our home: you are not allowed to date until you're 18 years old. Correct? So there are plenty of people want to know how, but our kids have really never rebelled. In fact, when people would say, "Aren't you mad at your parents for doing that to you?" or not allowing you to date, and things
mad,
like
Norma?
that, or they were like, "Aren't you angry about that?" And the response would always be no, because they love us and they're watching out for me. That's the reason why. Parents want to know, how do you do that? How do you raise kids that love and respect you and endear the idea that you're guarding and protecting them from relationships that they have no business being involved in? And it doesn't matter if we go over a few minutes, because I go over a few minutes all the time, you do too, that haven't crossed any lines, and are waiting for, maybe they'll date a couple people to find the right one, but that are not giving their hearts to so many people. I know how we did it, but you're the priest of the home. So how does a dad do that with their kids? And a wife has to support that, because
you have to have credibility. In order to minister to somebody, you have to have credibility. Just as an example, since Aaron's in the room here, at various times, because without Aaron there is no Tom, so Aaron runs all my stuff. So at various times though, I've jumped his case wrongly, yelled at him, "Come on!" or "You should have had this done," and I'm always wrong every time, because it really is that way. When it comes to anything like this, Aaron's always right with it. He really is. So I've had to go to him. It gives me credibility for me to go to Aaron and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was wrong for saying what I said." That gives me credibility to minister to him, to be his pastor. All right, gives me credibility. You don't have to be flawless to your kid. You're like, what does this have to do with dating? You have to, in order to speak into somebody's life, you have to have validity. You have to have credibility. So you have to be a good Christian man or woman and husband and wife. So you start off as an individual. Whenever I've blown it with my kids, I go to them and say, "I was sorry," or "I sinned." If it was sin, like a temper tantrum or whatever, I go to them and apologize, and I become a valid, credible person in their life that there's a high probability that they will listen to me. They haven't seen me run around on my wife. They haven't seen me be a hypocrite where I'm telling them one thing and living another. If you do that, forget about giving your kids advice. Just don't bother. It's best just to keep your mouth shut, because you're actually causing them to run from the gospel if you're a hypocrite giving them Christian advice. So it has to be coming from a credible source, so your kids actually think this is worth listening to. Otherwise, my daughter will be like, "Yeah, Dad, you tell me not to date this guy, but every other word coming out of your mouth is the F word, and I see you lusting over women all the time." Okay, my credibility is over. Yep. It's over. It doesn't mean that I was perfect, but my imperfections were apologized for, so it gives me credibility. Part two, so Hope has to do the same thing on her part. Okay? And then part two is we have to present a good, solid marriage. Otherwise, why would you listen to our advice about dating?
So true.
If the goal is to have a great marriage and dating is to get to a great marriage, and you're the ones giving advice on how to date to a good marriage, but you have a horrible marriage, are the people that are listening to you about your dating advice going to listen to you? Going to follow your advice? Absolutely not. They won't. So we had to have a good marriage also. Well, we're not endlessly fighting. We don't fight in front of them. We rarely ever do fight. And when we fight, it's literally like she says something, I say something, and then we don't talk for a day. That's our fight. We don't yell and scream or do any of that stuff. But we don't do that in front of them. We don't pull them into any sorts of our confrontations or arguments or anything like that. So it gives us credibility. Here's the other thing. I don't lose battles.
That's right. That's
Every
huge.
other parent does. I do not lose battles. My son is a cage fighter. He's won 5 straight fights. He does what I tell him to do. Can I beat him up anymore? If I fought my son, I would be conscious for 7 seconds. If I was lucky, and that's if he didn't connect immediately. That's if I fell to the ground and got in a fetal position. I'd be conscious for 7 seconds. But he does what I tell him to do, period. Like today, clean out your truck, your mom needs it. He does it. There's no question about it. They question her. They don't question
all the
me.
time.
But the thing is, why is that? Because, and I'm taking this from the movie Fugitive with Tommy Lee Jones, I don't bargain. I do not lose battles. My kids don't fake cry. My kids do not talk back. You know, a lot of parents, their kids start to fake, they start treating them like they're crying. You might as well wear a mask and act like COVID's real too. That's why a lot of these Christians don masks and treat it a 99.9% survivable virus as if it's a 99.9% unsurvivable virus. Why? Because they're used to pretending. Your kids fake crying. You know what you say? Do what I did. You want to cry? You're showing interest in crying. I can make you cry. Is that what? My kids never fake cried, never faked injured, nothing. It was never put up with. They never tell me no. Ever. To this day, 22 and 24, they don't tell me no. There is no bark back with me ever. You're like, that's because you were a tyrant. Ask either one of them if I was a tyrant. I wasn't a tyrant. I was credible. I was not flawless. There's nobody that can blow up a great family day like I can. Nobody has that talent to ruin a day like me. I can ruin a car ride, ruin a day out, ruin a trip from South Dakota all the way to Inglewood, Florida. 36 hours. I ruined it. Okay? I love farts. Sarah Richardson, thank you.
Of course.
I think farts are hilarious. Vanessa, keep going. 90 minutes going.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I mean, what I did was...
Vanessa and Sarah are no longer my friends.
But that's what you do. You have to be credible, and then I don't lose battles. When my son, Norma's never told me no, and Tommy told me no once when he was 2.5. I told him, get in the car. He went no, and I sprung on him like a jaguar out of a tree, grabbed a hold of him, and I'm not. This isn't some sort of Christian mom's daycare butt whooping. This is a man's butt whooping. And I didn't know put him up. It's no big formal process of, now son, the reason why I'm going to spank you today is because, 4 long and fourscore years ago, hence this happened. No. I grab him under his armpit and start throttling his rear end, and that's the only time he's ever told me no. Period. So when you have that sort of credibility backed up on a lack of hypocrisy and that you never lose a battle, your kids are very highly, I shouldn't put very in front of highly, are highly likely to listen to you about dating.
But I will also say with that is, even though you were a strict disciplinarian and everything, every
Only
time,
about the important things.
Yeah. Oh, every time you came home from work, you had games that you played with them. Like, they would always run and hide. You would always try and find them. I mean, everybody was excited when you walked in.
Not Christian gay games. Let's all break out the Bible cards. No, it was. It wasn't like that. You earn your Bible points today, kids.
No,
Nothing
they were
like
happy
that.
to see you when you got home.
This is hide and seek, throwing them around, hard, rough, what do you call it? Rough and tumble play or whatever. Rough housing. It was nothing like that. It was just. They
were excited when you came home.
And just so you know, I'm only a strict disciplinarian about things I care about. I'm a very selfish, self-centered person. So the thing is, all I cared about was you're not smart mouthing. Like, the odds of you getting a dinner made when I'm watching you,
never.
Were never.
It's
I didn't care what they ate.
Drove me
Go
nuts.
eat. Both my kids. Are your kids then? A lot of you who raise your kids on herbs and seaweed, you're fat. Your kids are giant fat kids now. My kids ate whatever they wanted.
Well, no.
When they were with me.
I would say, I'd come home, and I would say, if I was gone for the day, I would say, did they get lunch? Well, Well, they had some snacks. Well, did they get dinner? They weren't really hungry. I'm like, okay, but I ask you this. Did you eat lunch?
Yes.
Did you fix yourself dinner?
Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh. I hate when Aaron's in charge. I cannot wait when Aaron's not in charge. So for me, I'm like, if you fix yourself meals, you definitely could have fixed them a meal. Instead, he let them,
Well, fixing a meal, what was that, though?
I don't know, but a sandwich, you couldn't have fixed them a sandwich?
It was a DiGiorno pizza. Well, that's my meal fixing, or a Hot Pocket.
Whatever. You still could have fixed him a meal. Yeah. I'm just saying, even though you were...
chocolate milk fills them up.
Yeah.
They're full.
Aaron, stop. Stop right now. There's no farting allowed in our house either. If you fart, it ain't around me in my house.
That's true. And by the way, that's something you might be thinking. Your man's man, you do whatever you want to do, and you're hardcore, and your wife has to be submissive to you and all. No, I honor my wife. Seriously, I do.
You do.
I do honor my wife. I treat her. I compliment her. I treat her like gold. I don't fart around my wife ever.
No, it's disgusting.
I fart around my son. And we fart around each other, and I'll fart around everybody else's husbands that are represented in this room. But I'm like, that's that.
It's not appealing. Right. Let me just tell you,
but they're still hilarious in every podcast.
No, they're not.
They're hilarious. See.
The girls are laughing at my face. Tom is laughing at Aaron. Okay, Norma says she's laughing at the farts. I do have to get this one last question. This is super important, and I would say who it was from, but I'm going to spare them. Aaron, listen, I am going to come over there and take that hat off your head. I'm going to smack it off. This is your mother speaking. This is my mother tongue. Knock it off over there.
What you got there? What's on it? What do you got there? I saw a slide that interested me.
Oh, okay. This is the last question. Are you going to play it while I'm replaying that while I did my last question? Okay. Is there anything off limits in the bedroom for married couples? And when you've been together for a long time, it can get boring or monotonous. Can you even focus on this question?
Yeah, I got
it. How far is too far when you're trying to spice it up?
Anything anal.
Now that was funny.
There you go.
Nobody's in chairs anymore. They're all on the ground. Except for Aaron.
Hey,
and Tracy.
I'll just put it to this way. First Corinthians 6, 9, and 10. Sodomites will not inherit the kingdom of God. There you go. That's off limits. And just so you know, nothing else is. I'll leave it at that.
I thought sodomites pertained only to men with men.
No, I'm just saying that's what the Bible says. It doesn't say just men on men, but I mean, that's, for me, I mean, that's where the line is. You know what? I mean, there's things that are biologically approved for entry, and there are things that are biologically approved for exit. And that's it. So things that are biologically approved for exits should not be receiving entries. You know what I'm saying? So you don't think it's funny, but it is. So see what I mean? So anyway, but no. So I mean, I'll just be.
I'm just thinking of somebody who is
new to Christianity. No, all of eternity.
No. Like, I'm thinking of somebody.
I don't want the Christianity they have.
No, that's not what I was going to say. I was thinking of somebody who enjoyed anal, and now they can't hold their gas in, and that's what it sounds like all the time for them. They have no control over their rectum.
You go, literally, people would accuse me of going to the depths of depravity. I do not even go to that level.
But all I can think is somebody's butthole.
Okay. What are you doing? What are you doing?
They can't control their gas anymore.
That might be a problem in the boudoir. Not being able to control your gas would be a problem for sure.
Oh gosh. Okay.
All right, but anyway, listen. Here's the thing: is how do you like spice things up? And I'll just be honest with you. I am actually in 27, 26. Is it 27? We're coming on 27. 27 years that we're coming up on. I've lost no interest, none whatsoever, because Hope is pliable. She does, the stuff that I want her to do.
Norma.
and I do the stuff. In here. I do the stuff that she wants to. Now here's the thing. That's not. It's like it's what you want to do at the moment. It's not like, okay, here's our cardboard cutout for all of eternity. It's what's great right now. And upon request, Hope does what's great right now, and it changes. Especially guys. I mean, I like certain views. I like certain whatever. Get on it. You're married. You walk the aisle. You pledge your life to this person for the rest of the time you're on earth. Get busy. You know what? Well, it's embarrassing. What's embarrassing? You've already seen each other naked. What could be embarrassing about it? So me, you want to keep things spicy? Don't buy some book. Go upon request. And I'm not just talking to women here. I'm talking to men. I don't know how down and dirty we want to get on this stuff, but you need to be asking your wife what turns you on. Because chances are, if she's just sent that question in, there's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And you need to be able to discuss. Hope and I discuss everything. We have had hardcore sex talks that were mainly brutal for her, in all honesty. Right?
Not really.
I mean, they weren't. No, they didn't really hurt your feelings that much. But she's like, "Well, you mean I've been doing it wrong for 12 years?" Yeah. I appreciate the effort, and you're always trying.
That's true.
I'm like, yeah. I mean,
I think I am. Soulless.
The great thing about it, yeah. The great thing about our marriage is everything is upon request. Like, I've always known from day one, over the last 26 and a half years, that if I want sex, I can get it. That's it. I don't have to go through. Most of you women out there, you got a 12-step procedure. That's not the case with the women that are in this room. The women in this room are great wives. But there's a lot of the women that are in this room is Tracy and Heather that are married. So they operate the same way, which, by the way, they have great marriages because they don't have a 12-step process. I just don't get turned on unless my husband has an apron on and is washing dishes. Okay, what you want as a girl? You're in a lesbian relationship. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the thing. So we are just open about everything, not to be gross, but touch here, touch there, don't do this, don't whatever it may be. I know I'm making you single girls uncomfortable, whatever, but this is what you need to do when you're married, or you're going to have these uncomfortable 6-week-long sex sabbaticals where you're like, nobody's having sex because nobody wants to discuss that there's a problem in the bedroom.
Well, here's the thing, too. Like,
we've never had those problems. We talk about everything.
Yeah, but also, like, if you get married and you were pure when you got married, or if you've been married, if you were promiscuous before you got married, doesn't mean all those relationships prior to that were good. So a lot of times, unless you're truly intimate with somebody, you don't know, like, what they like. You have to have those conversations. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, especially if you stayed pure before you got married, like, it's new. Like, it's not something you're going to know. So you need to be able to have that conversation. Otherwise, it's going to be miserable.
And what will drive couples apart are two things. Well, three things. Money, sex, and kids will drive couples apart if you let it. Like, you hear me talk about this all the time in church. Women have kids. They lop off all their hair, put on 37 pounds, and drive a minivan. Okay, that's not what he married. And men do the same thing, get fat and everything else too. But, Don't let your kids get in the way. Don't let money get in the way. And sex will get in the way because nobody wants to discuss it because it's embarrassing. Okay,
but it's really not.
If it's marry your best friend, it's really not that embarrassing.
It's not.
It really isn't. And we just have.
Plus, we've laughed.
We've had frank discussions about it, and I just make fun of her.
It's pretty funny.
I just make fun of her. Yeah, you're telling me I was doing it wrong for 12 years? Yeah, exactly. wrong.
That's true story.
Wrong for 12 years.
He's not lying. Yeah. That is a true story.
That does not. I had to tell her. If you notice that doesn't work. Then why are you doing it over and over and over and over and over again? It doesn't work. Okay, it's the definition of insanity.
One day it will.
Someday I'll keep doing the same thing over and over and over again.
It will change.
Getting the exact same response, but someday it's just going to break through. No, it will not.
Oh gosh, that's so funny. Yeah. That is so dang funny.
Lots of effort. A for effort. Oh, A for willingness, but it doesn't work.
Oh gosh. I'm really hot right now. We have no air conditioning in. The fan's blowing on me, but I'm so hot from laughing so hard. Whew. All right. I think that's it.
Yeah, that's good. Love all. We're losing viewers anyway. 97.
Not really. Okay. All righty.
I think I cost us 10 when I said touch here, touch there.
Okay.
Close it up.
Friday, we're going to have Bia on. She's going to be my guest for Friday, so tune in for that. We pre-recorded that. Actually, truth is, all of them are pre-recorded because Tom takes up so much time with his that we can't go live.
Erin and I shoot her podcast. She's gone for the entire day. She leaves at 9 o'clock in the morning, comes home at 10 at night. I'm like, what are you doing? Erin and I come in 20 minutes, 20 minutes before the podcast. Erin uploads or downloads.
We have fun.
Downloads all of our material. We shoot 90 minutes. We leave.
We're
out of here. If we didn't talk, we would on a normal night. We're gone. We could be gone by 10:15.
We're laughing. We're having fun.
So Erin and I are here from 8:15 to 10:15, and we're done.
Girls just want to have fun.
I know. Erin and I want shots on goal. Climb the mountain.
So be back here Friday, 3 to 4. It will not be as long. We're going way over. But that's okay, because now people know where to touch. Okay? So
touch here, touch there.
And that's really all that matters. I hope this helps you guys. He'll be back someday, but I think it might be a year from now, because this might be way too much for some people. But I love you. Come back on Friday, 3 to 4, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.